Hi, I'm Eric and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about life in Copenhagen compared to Taipei. Uh, so I'm going to use English in this video, and the first time I upload my video in English. Hopefully you guys love it, and I hope there are more people who don't speak Chinese can watch my video. So that's the main purpose why I start to make video in English, and probably also practice my English speaking. That's one of the benefit. All right, let's come back to today's topic. Life in Denmark compared to Taiwan. So let's talk a little bit about the story why I'm living in Denmark as a Taiwanese people. So at the beginning, I was working for a Danish company in Taiwan. They have some business in Taiwan. I have an offshore wind project, so I'm an electrical engineer. And then, like after working for this project for a while, I have a chance to relocate from Taipei, Taiwan, to Copenhagen, Denmark. So now I have been living in Denmark for almost 1.5 years. At like 2 months ago or a few months ago, I get another opportunity. I got a permanently job in Copenhagen, so I'm gonna to stay in Denmark for the next few years. I have no clue how long will I stay in Denmark, but at least in the next 3 years, I expect I will stay in Denmark. So let's go back to today's topic. Life in Copenhagen compared to Taipei. The first one, it's the most important one, is the work culture. So a lot of you guys might know that most of the working culture in Far East country, especially this well-developed Far East country. I mean, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and also Singapore. All of these countries have probably the longest working hours in the world. You can have a search on Google, and you can, like this 4 5 well-developed Asian country that have like crazy working hours, like more than 50 or 60 hours a week. Some of the guys working in a high-tech company even have to do like night shift, 12 on, 12 off, 12 on, and 12 off. So the working culture is really toxic. I would say I would use the very strong word, toxic in Taiwan compared to Denmark. And in Denmark, I would say the working culture is quite flexible. If you they are very well they are very open-minded for working from home, and if you got sick, you just have to write a mail, inform the team members in your project or your manager that I got sick, I would like to work from home today, and you got like at least 5 weeks paid leave in Denmark. So that's one of the best things. I use this like 5 6 week. We have like 7 weeks paid leave in my previous employer. So I use these holidays to travel around so many different European countries. Now I have been to like 15 different European countries so far after living in Copenhagen for a year. So that's one of the greatest things. In Taiwan, you only get 7 days for your first year, and then by the time it's by, your annual leave will increase after you work in one company for like 20 years. Then you probably will get 30 days. But once you switch company, then they will reset again. So let's say if I work in a company for 5 years, and now I got 14 days annual leave, and once I resigned from A company, switch the job to B company, then I have to reset my annual leave again. So I start from like 7 days a year. again. So it kind so that's the thing. That's the reason why people don't switch their job so frequently compared to people in Denmark, because once they switch their job, they have to reset all of their annual leave again. That's one of the very toxic working culture I hate in Taiwan. And there are also a lot of overtime working in Taiwan, especially there is a very toxic culture is that once you have to leave the company or leave your office after you're senior. So that means even though you got nothing to do, you still have to sit on in front of your desk and pretending you are working until your boss leave in the office. But in Denmark, I like people always want to finish their job as quick as they can and go back to be with their family, with their wife, with their kids, with their dogs, with their girlfriends, whatever. So that's one thing very different. I really like Denmark compared to Taipei. I think people from US might have some similar experience. Although the working culture might not be so that toxic in US, but overall Denmark it's still very chill, and work-life balance it's way more better compared to North America uh, or East Asia. So number two I'm going to talk about is the food. One thing I really cannot get used to is the food in Copenhagen, even though I have been living here for 1.5 years so far. So I'm I'm a person who raised up in Asian in Taiwan for 25 and 26 years. Before I went to Hong Kong for a year, I didn't really have any opportunity to live abroad like long-termly, just like here in Copenhagen. And before I came to Copenhagen, I never been to Europe before. So uh, Denmark is the first European country I came and I live here for like long-termly. Uh, so I really cannot get used to Danish foods here. Like we have canteen uh, in the company, but they always offering like cold salad or like carrot or just vegetables without boiling or without cooking. I have no clue why, because in when I was in Taiwan, I always have like hot food for lunch or for dinner, but in Denmark they really like cold ingredient without cooking or boiling. I think that's probably one of the culture here. Uh, so it's I would say I cannot get used to this type of dishes. I have to, but I still, cannot get used to. But this kind of ingredients you know, makes you healthier. And if you have a lot of like rice or noodles for your lunch, just like in Taiwan, you will feel very sleepy in the afternoon. That's the reason why they always have like 1 hour, you know, people turn off the light and just lying on the desk and sleep for 30 minutes in Taiwan and then working late. It's probably because they consuming too much rice or noodles in their lunchtime. But in Denmark, there's no like culture have a nap after lunch, so people always finish their lunch very quickly and then go back to their seat, go back to their office, and very concentrate on their job and just get their job done, go back to home with their wife and kids, which is very good. It's very efficiency. I would say that working from working efficiency point of view, Denmark is probably way more better compared to my hometown in Taiwan, because a lot of people just pretending, just like what I said previously, pretending they're working, but they are not. So the next one is about the renting cost, or let's say living cost in Copenhagen compared to my hometown Taiwan and Taipei. Uh, so in Copenhagen, I rent apartment roughly cost me like like 8,000 Danish krone, which is roughly um, 1,200 US dollars. But in Taipei, you can rent this kind of apartment with like maximum 800 US dollars. So I would say it's probably like 50% more expensive in Copenhagen if you want to rent a unit like this. But on the other hand, of course, the wage and the salary it's relative higher in Copenhagen. So in Copenhagen, as I know, their minimum wage per hour it's relative very high. So if you want to eat out or like go to a restaurant, get a haircut, had this kind of very basic daily or livings like very basic service, it's way more expensive compared to Taipei because I think the minimum wage per hour in Taipei is probably only one third of Denmark. But I will talk about salary point of view as engineer after that. Now I'm gonna to talk about a public transportation. So I would say both Taipei and Copenhagen have a really good public transportation system running in the city area and also urban area. But the cost of public transportation it's roughly 50% or I would say it's probably 60-70% higher in Copenhagen compared to Taipei. Like in Taipei, if you go from one stop to another, it probably only costs you like 30 or 40 Taiwan dollars. It's less than two US dollars, $2. Uh, but in Copenhagen, if you want to go from one way to another, it at least costs you like $3. It's roughly 20 Danish krone. It's roughly $3 US dollars. But both of these city has really good public transportation. So even though you are a newcomer for these two cities and you don't have a car, it's totally fine because you can just go to anywhere by public transportation. And like I'm working in the office quite far away from my apartment. It probably takes me like 40 minutes from my place to my office. So I buy a commute card, like monthly commute card. So it costs me like $80, 80 US dollars to buy these commute cards on my app, and um, I can go anywhere in this certain area. In Copenhagen, their system is quite different compared to Taipei because they divide big Copenhagen area into like 5 or 6 different area. So you choose the path you will go across in this certain area. Like for me, I choose 3 different area on my way to work and go back home. So on these 3 different area, if you buy the commute card and you choose these 3 area, then you pay $80 to get everything in this month. I mean, including metro, S-train, and the bus. Metro system, it's a newly built MRT system in Copenhagen. So it's relative new compared to S-train. S-train, it's kind of like a local train. I think S-train is probably built after World War II, so it's very old-fashioned, but it works properly, so it doesn't have any issue. And the third one is the bus. there are quite a lot of buses stop around this city. So you can always choose these three options with your commute card. And same in Taipei, but we have like one more option. It's called high-speed rail. So if you want to travel from city to city, like if you want to travel from Taipei to Kaohsiung or from Taipei to Taichung, Hsinchu, these different cities, and you can buy the commute card for high-speed rail. But if you only travel or commute in big Taipei city, you can buy a commute card, uh, and you pay. I think you pay like 40 or 50 US dollars for this type of commute card, and it includes the whole big Taipei area, including the urban area. So it's way better. Like from cost of view, is way better than Copenhagen. But of course, it's a high living cost city in Copenhagen, so we cannot really compare to each other. And the next one, it's salary. It's I will divide salary into two different parts. One is white collar, and another one is blue collar. If you are working as electrical engineer or software engineer, I would say you got quite similar salary uh, in Copenhagen compared to Taipei, because you like after tax, even of course before tax, you get higher salary in Denmark, but the government will take like 40% of your income. That's the basic income tax away from your salary. So you only get 60% salary after tax. And if you earn more than, I don't know, there is a certain amount of standard, but if you earn more than standard, you get another 15% tax. That's called top tax. So you will probably be taxed for 55% for a certain amount of salary after that standard. In Taipei, the income tax in Taiwan, or I would say most of the Asian city like Singapore or Tokyo, they are relatively lower than most of the European country. So the income tax starts from 5% if you earn like 500,000 Taiwan dollar to 1.2 million Taiwan dollar, and you've been taxed for 5% over 1.2 million Taiwan dollar to like 2 million, then you've been taxed for 12% over like 2 million, then you've been taxed for like 20%, something like that. But the maximum income tax in Taiwan, it's only 40%, so it's still way more lower compared to Copenhagen. So even though the average salary for electrical software engineer stuff like that, it's relative. It's it's quite similar in these two cities after tax. But if we talk about blue collar, like if you're working in the restaurant, if you're working in the supermarket, if you're working in service sectors, then you earn way more less in Taipei compared to Copenhagen, because the limited minimum wage per hour in Taiwan is only 1/3 of Denmark. But on the other hand, if you're working as a white collar like engineer or like financial manager, stuff like that, in Taipei, or if you are expert in Taipei, you can really live like a king in Taipei, because this in the industry of restaurant or this basic service sector, the salary is very low in Taiwan, so you can kind of enjoy the lower income tax but live in a lower living cost city. So it really depends what kind of work or what kind of career you are working on. But overall, as a white collar, I would say you can you can earn and save more in Taipei compared to Denmark, because everything, living cost, everything in Denmark, it's relative way more higher compared to Taipei. But yeah, so let's for your reference. And the next one, it's I'm going to talk about the language. So I would say if you are fluently English speaker, like your second language is English, and you can speak fluently English, then you have no problem to living in both Taipei and Copenhagen, because both of these two cities, citizen or citizens, they speak good English, and you can always, you know, uh, living in your daily life by using English in these two cities. But if you really want to make friends with local people, then you have to learn some local language. Uh, I kind of decide to stay in Denmark for a little bit longer while, so I start my Danish course. It's not easy to learn, but I would say it's probably way more difficult for like Westerners to learn Mandarin compared to me as a English speaker, as English is my second language, to learn Danish, because all of these characters I already know. Although there are some other characters like ooh, oh, like very two or three other characters I have to remember, but the grammar, everything is very similar in English. But yeah, but if you want to, have a kind of build up the relationship with local people, then in both of these two cities, you have to learn local language. The next one is population, or let's say how you feel like to living in this city. So Taipei is a city with 2.5 million population, and Denmark is a city with only like 500,000 people population. So you can feel you have like a bigger space in Copenhagen compared to Taipei. There are always a lot of people, come and go across the street, and there are so many cars, scooters, just on the street. You feel very crowded in Taipei compared to Copenhagen. Copenhagen, it's very chill and very small village for me if I'm from Taipei. But I think in most of the big Asian city, like I have been to Seoul, Tokyo, or Singapore, Taiwan, or Taipei, or Kuala Lumpur, all these cities have a certain big amount of people. So take this for example. If you go to a public transportation, or if you go to an MRT station in big Asian city, the distance, like the social distance between each other is very close. You will feel like people just, even though there are no people lining up after you, you will feel like people just that close to you. That's not because they pretend they mean to do that. That's just because they're happy to line up with very short or limited social distance. So it feels very crowded, and in these big Asian cities, some people like it, some people don't. Like I kind of prefer to be more chill in Copenhagen, because people has a certain amount of distance between each other when we are in the public area, or when we are in the train station. So number 6, I'm gonna the last one I'm gonna to talk about, it's about biking in Taipei and in Denmark. So as as many of you guys know, Copenhagen is one of the most biking friendly city in the world. And Taipei, Taipei is in its progress, but we still have a long way to go uh, to catch up Copenhagen. Um, so in Copenhagen, they kind of divide the road into three different lines. One line for the cars, one line for the bike, and one line for the people just walk on the street. So a lot of them they use their bike for commute purpose. So I knew some of my colleagues, even though they have to bike 40 to 50 minutes from their house to the office, they are still willing to do that. So they kind of spend 2 hours biking from their place to the office, and they are happy and willing to do that. I mean, some of people from different parts of the world will just drive their cars, but Danish people, they are not a big fan of cars. I would say they are a big fan of bike, but they are not a big fan of cars, especially in Copenhagen area, and it's probably uh, the cost of having a car. It's so expensive. So the government kind of try to implement this policy to lower the people who have car, and increase the willing for people to bike as their major transportation. But in Taipei, I'm going to talk about Taipei. In Taipei, public transportation it's very convenient, and we like I don't know probably 1 or 2 decades ago, we implement a system called U-Bike. So you can have your Easy Card. Easy Card is kind of a card, a kind of commute card, but Easy Card can do many different things. Like you can purchase food in 7-Eleven, you can buy small stuff in the supermarket with your Easy Card, but you can also take a train, or you use public transportation like local train or high speed. Now you can also use high speed rail with your Easy Card, and you can pay by Easy Card to rent like a small U-bike, and then you travel from distance A, from location A to location B, and you can just return the car at return the bike, sorry, not the car, at location B, and then you just beep your and you just top out by using your Easy Card, and they will charge you. It probably cost you only like $1 or $2. No, I think it's less than $1 for an hour. So it's very easy. Just have your U-bike and biking around the city. But one thing, like the problem of Taipei, is that there are so many scooters, so makes you very dangerous if you want to bike around the city. But it improves a lot, and it's still in its progress to solve this scooter issue. For my own opinion, I do wish the government just ban the scooters, because I would say scooters cause uh, like traffic accident, and also air pollution is not good for your lung. If there are so many scooters in the city, people will just suck in this toxic oxygens. And yeah, I kind of hope one day we can ban the scooter, or at least transfer from gas scooter to electric scooter one day. But yeah, we still have a long progress to go, and Copenhagen it's the model for rest of the cities in the world for biking. So almost half hours. That's a little bit about my life and my experience in Copenhagen compared to Taipei, where I came from. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video and see you next time. Bye bye.